Every day in Dota, more and more people start using cheats. Valve's inaction towards software users has led even honest players to abandon their principles and download cheats. No one should be judged for this. Some might say that cheaters ruin the game, but there are those who see it as a way to restore balance. For fair play, there are closed leagues, while regular matchmaking has long turned into a HVH mode, and if an honest player enters HVH without cheats, it's only their problem. The question arises, what should be done then? The simplest and most logical option is to start playing with cheats, as most do. There is a second option, enjoy the game against a cheater without cheats. But to slightly increase your chances of winning, you need to understand how cheats work and what can be devised against them. I'll provide the necessary basics in this video by demonstrating the most frequently used features of the most popular Dota cheat umbrella. However, to understand it more thoroughly, it's better to spend time in a lobby and test various functions yourself. You don't need to buy a cheat for this. By registering through my referral link in the description, you get a 10-day trial period and a 33% discount on the first umbrella subscription. 10 days is more than enough to learn everything, and then all honest and principled Dota players can delete the software and continue playing fairly in HVH matchmaking. Everyone has heard about scripts for Meepo, Invoker, Arc Warden, and other complex heroes. In Umbrella, there are combos for all existing heroes in Dota that activate skills and items in the correct sequence. For most heroes, it's more important to use items, while pressing a couple of skills can be done manually. For Invoker, you can set the skills to activate in any desired sequence. You can start the combo with Tornado, or immediately cast Meteor and Cataclysm if the team has some control. The Auto Cataclysm feature works particularly well. You can set the minimum number of heroes required for Cataclysm activation in the settings, with the optimal value being 3. As soon as 3 opponents are controlled, Invoker will automatically cast and use Cataclysm, and will do it twice if the option to use Refresher is checked. There is also automatic sphere switching, casting a specific skill at the press of a button, and much more. However, overall, I wouldn't say that hero combos are very decisive. I can easily perform any Invoker combo manually, but for example, I can't apply Lotus Orb on myself or an ally at the moment when an enemy Juggernaut starts casting his ultimate, but Umbrella handles this task without any problems. The automatic armlet toggle, you could say, provides complete invulnerability. You might think it's simple, just turn it on and off instantly and that's it, but no, it doesn't work that way. Our ingenious scripter had to account for every skill in Dota with periodic damage so that the armlet toggling happens between damage ticks. That's why it can toggle seamlessly under several ultimate skills. The only thing that can help against automatic toggling is a large number of stuns. As is known, the armlet cannot be toggled while stunned, and if the opponents don't have many stuns, you can cause havoc with impunity. To immediately understand which heroes the opponents are playing and how they can be countered, there's an Overplus panel that displays statistics from the most recent matches. You can choose a different period ranging from 7 to 180 days, as well as the site from which the statistics will be loaded, Dota Buff, Open Dota, or Strats. But obviously, to ban the right hero, you need to understand which role the opponent is playing. After all, if a Brood spammer runs out of tokens and decides to support, there's clearly no point in banning Brood. This is where another wonderful feature comes in handy, showing the roles that opponents are playing. And by the way, since we've touched on Overplus, let's quickly cover the other features that can't be called cheats, but without which I no longer want to play Dota. For this, we go to the customization section. First on the list is the inventory changer. All items that have ever been in Dota appear in your inventory, including seasonal skins that are no longer available. In items that support it, like Arcana for Terrorblade or Techies, you can insert any gem to change the color. Previously, Valve allowed those who donated to get a 1,000,000 level compendium to change the river, but in Umbrella, this feature is available year-round. You can also apply any seasonal effects from past years that change the attack animation, Blink effect, Shiva's effect, and more. You can enable a function so that other Umbrella users can also see your skins. By the way, if you want to get only the inventory changer and the Overplus panel and don't need the cheat functionality, you can install the Overplus app. I'll leave a referral link in the description that gives you a 14-day trial period and a 30% discount on the first subscription. This also includes a feature for other users to see your skins skins, and there are many users there, so I recommend it to all honest players. Now, let's return to Umbrella's functionality. Color Changer allows you to change the color of creeps and HP bars. For variety, I've recolored the creeps and enemy HP bars to purple. Cursor tracking adds a colorful trail, which helps some users not lose track of the cursor in a fight, while others enable it just for variety. Profile modification lets you set any rank, any rating number, and any Steam ID. To make navigating through trees easier, their models can be replaced with more convenient ones. In my case, they are barrels, but there are plenty of options and everyone can choose what they like best. Additionally, you can color these barrels in any color, gradient, or even make them shimmer with different colors. Unlocker is an incredibly cool feature that allows you to unlock Dota Plus functions for free and unlock all existing Dota emoticons. Moreover, it's not just for yourself, everyone will see them in the chat. With one button, you can claim all the rewards for tutorials without actually completing them. Valve has already fixed this, but not too long ago we found a vulnerability that allowed us to duplicate scrap and purchase any tokens with it, including premium ones. Initially, users did this manually, but later we created a script that fully completes Acts 3 and 4 of the Fallen Crown in a minute. The most enterprising users created dozens of accounts and started selling the drops they got. Valve doesn't seem to learn from their mistakes, so when there's a new event, we'll likely find another vulnerability. The funniest part is that they fixed the purchase of premium tokens with scrap, but you can still duplicate scrap and also set the maximum number of points in mini games with one button to collect all the tokens. Some heroes and cosmetic items emit particles while walking, such as with Arcana on Wind Ranger or Bane. For variety, you can set any walking effect available in Dota. The last item in the customization section is World Modification. There are very flexible settings that allow you to fully customize the map to your liking. For example, I've removed the standard ugly fog and replaced it with black. Another excellent feature is Harpoon catching. I didn't really build Harpoon much before, but when I learned about this feature, I started using it. The script automatically selects the perfect timing, and after a blink, the opponent is pulled back with the Harpoon. Now, catching escape heroes is very easy. Dodger has been and remains one of the most useful features in the game. Thanks to it, it's now nearly impossible to hit with a hook or a sunstrike in Dota, and Anti-Mage reflects almost every targeted skill with his counterspell. In Umbrella, the Dodger was recently reworked and now it's almost impossible to deceive it. However, in other cheats, heroes like Puck and Anti-Mage can be pressured by canceling the cast animation. Their Counterspell or Shift triggers immediately when the cast animation begins. With Umbrella, this can sometimes work too, but you need to hit the exact microsecond for it to succeed. To make everything work as it should, I recommend spending time customizing everything to your preferences. To start, you need to bind the key to open the Dodger panel. Next, open the Dodger panel. At the top, we have a general priority Dodger, and below, you can set up a Dodger for individual skills. The first icon in the Dodger list is movement, meaning if a skill is coming towards you that you can dodge by moving away, the Dodger will simply move the hero aside. If moving away isn't an option, the next item in the Dodger will activate, in my case, Manta. To change the priority of the Dodger, you can rearrange the items. Right now, I've placed Blink instead of movement as the first option, so to dodge a hook, my hero will blink. I have disabled BKB and Satanic because these items are too important and I want to decide when to use them myself. However, in some situations, for example against Axe or Legion Commander's duel, their use is simply necessary. Therefore, the next part of the panel is responsible for the individual customization of the Dodger for specific skills. To do this, we right-click on a skill, in this case Axe's Berserker's Call, turn on the custom trigger slider, and select the items and skills that will trigger specifically against it. The order of activation will be the same as in the top panel. If you want to change it, enable the custom priority and rearrange the items as needed. I have enabled Blink, Manta, BKB, Satanic, Blade Mail, and Crimson. Now my hero will blink away from Berserker's Call because Blink is first in priority. If I don't have Blink, the hero will dodge the call with Manta. If there's no Manta, then BKB, Satanic, Blade Mail, and Crimson remain. It is clear that you can't actually dodge Berserker's Call with these items. However, if you activate them simultaneously, Axe will regret deciding to jump on such a skilled player with such good reflexes. In this case, the dodger will indeed activate all these items at once. I've set up the same for Legion Commander's Duel. The next section is the Auto Disabler. It's somewhat similar to the dodger, but instead of dodging skills or minimizing damage from them, it prevents them from being activated at all. However, it's important to understand that with a standard delay of 0.15 seconds, the disabler won't activate for all skills. That's why I have set a minimal delay of 0.5 seconds, but I'm not even trying to play legitimately. Why? There are hardly any bans, and even if there are, creating a new account in a free game is not a problem at all. Can a player without cheats somehow counter this? In principle, before the jump, you can cast Lotus Orb on yourself or activate Anti-Mage's counterspell. Then the Auto Disabler won't work since it won't disable itself. Although in some cheats this is not accounted for, and the Auto Disabler can indeed cast Orchid into Lotus or counterspell. Next comes the most important section, which is, of course, information. The first item is the build helper. I don't play Dota very often, so I used to always have Dota Pro Tracker open on my second monitor to understand which aspect to choose, which skills and talents to level up, and which items to purchase. In one of the games where I picked a new hero and didn't know how to play him, I spent most of the game in the tavern, and during that time, I managed to create a build helper. Now, without leaving Dota, we get information on the most effective build for the hero, and we can even change roles, with the build adjusting accordingly. Playing as a carry, here's your carry build. Mid laner, no problem, here's a build for that. But what if you don't know which hero to play? For this, we have a meta tracker located in the miscellaneous section. You need to set the date range. I'm interested in the statistics for the last 7 days. Then choose the mode, all pick or turbo, and your rank in Dota. After that, you only need to select the minimum win rate and pick rate of heroes that suit you. Additionally, aspects with the highest win rate are immediately displayed here. More detailed information about aspects appears during the drafting phase. The second item is global information. It provides us with information about Roshan, ensuring that opponents can never take the Aegis without a fight. It's especially fun to take down heroes like Huskar or Ursa with Sunstrikes. It displays illusions, so we will always see the real hero, and no Phantom Lancers or other illusionists will be a threat to us anymore. If you are a fan of illusionists, I recommend giving it up because now every third Dota player uses cheats, meaning illusionists lose their main advantage. But if giving up on illusionists is not an option, there is a script that automatically disperses illusions in different directions when health falls below a certain value to increase your chances of success. Obviously, this won't fool cheaters, but maybe the opponents will be without cheats. Although sometimes even cheaters get confused by a large number of illusions and use an important targeted skill on an illusion instead of the real hero. However, Umbrella has an anti-illusion feature that redirects the skill to the real hero. By the way, most players who don't play illusionists don't utilize their illusion runes effectively. For this, there is an illusion controller that will automatically send illusions to push waves or farm the jungle, and also make stacks if the timing is right. Anti-fail will prevent you from using a smoke if your hero is already under its effect, and it won't allow you to activate a refresher if there's nothing to recharge. Auto healing will use greaves, mech, sticks, and other healing items when health falls below the threshold set in the settings. The optimal value is 10%, and this function can save not only you, but also your teammate. The same can be enabled for automatic mana regeneration for both yourself and allies. The unit life indicator shows how many seconds remain until illusions, Furion's Trents, Invoker's Forged Spirits, etc. disappear. The Lincoln and Mirror Shield indicators show us that it's not worth using an important targeted skill on a hero before breaking Lincoln's Sphere with something. The courier display predicts where the enemy courier is located. Playing as Furion, you can catch them on cooldown. Ability Map Hack shows all abilities and items used in the Fog of War, even including switching power treads and Invoker's Orbs. So if you want to gank a cheater, don't press any buttons to increase your chances. And of course, thanks to this feature, we can see abilities we're not supposed to see, like Invoker's Sunstrike or Kunkka's Torrent. Jungle Map Hack reveals the hero farming jungle creeps, making it very convenient to play as active gankers. There's no need to wander aimlessly searching for a hero, since it's immediately clear where they are. The last seen position indicator adds a marker for a few seconds in the location where the enemy disappeared into the Fog of War. There is also information about teleports through the fog of war, the location of runes, and even where a rune will appear, top or bottom. You can get information about watchers and tormentors, the number of lotuses in pools, and items lying on the ground. The next script is the attack indicator. If an enemy is running in invisibility and right-clicks you or your ally, the attack indicator informs us about it. So don't click unnecessarily on a cheater. The informational overlay adds a top panel that shows the cooldowns of ultimates and teleports, the availability of buybacks, the amount of mana and HP, as well as the number of last hits and denies. The settings for the side panels display information about Roshan's availability, the cooldown of the enemy glyph, and scan. You can also enable the items and net worth panel, but in my opinion, that's too much information on the screen. So I've bound these panels to display when holding down the Alt key. The same goes for wards placed outside the fog of war. The cheat tracks them, and by holding down the Alt key, I get a whole list. The next item is camera zoom. In standard Dota, the maximum value is 1200 units, and I don't understand how it's possible to play when you can barely see anything on the screen. In Umbrella, you can zoom out the camera up to 10,000 units, but usually everyone uses a range from 2,000 to 5,000. The visibility settings add an indicator around the hero, which helps us understand whether the enemy can see us or not. This works perfectly with the map hack and allows you not to waste time if you've passed over a ward, and of course to destroy wards. In general, it works like Slark's ultimate and additionally provides information if we are under the effect of a sentry ward. The hero overlay displays abilities and items above the hero, including their cooldowns, which makes it easy to decide whether to fight this hero or it's better to retreat. To avoid having too much clutter on the screen and nothing interfering during fights, you can adjust the transparency when hovering the cursor over a hero. Off-screen gathers information about heroes that have gone into the fog of war, helping to understand where they might be now. If they're nearby, it might be time to run. The next item is Radius. You can enable the Smoke Radius, Enemy Gem Radius, and even experience Gain Radius, as well as the radii for using skills, items, and even attack range for any ally or enemy. Most often, I enable the display of the radius of an annoying enemy skill to make it easier to maintain a distance where their skill can't reach me. Usually, this is OD's Astral Imprisonment or Templar Assassin's Meld. To avoid losing extra gold from deaths, there's a script that will automatically purchase items from the quick buy list. You can even check an option to leave enough gold for a buyback instead of spending it all. If you need to buy consumables for the lane but don't want to be distracted by searching through the shop, there's an option to bind keys for quick purchases. Additionally, there's also an option to bind a key for buyback. This should actually be in regular Dota, but since Valve hasn't implemented it, Umbrella helps out. Many people encounter the problem of knowing everything but forgetting it at the most crucial moments. For this, there is a notification feature. It includes reminders about the appearance of bounty, power-up, and wisdom runes, reminders for stacking and lotus appearances. Notifications include pressing smoke, using scan, the appearance of power-up runes, using teleports, leveling up skills, capturing watchers, and the appearance of tormentors and Roshan, as well as notifications that enemies are attacking them. You can choose to have notifications appear only on the side or have them written in local chat, meaning allies and enemies won't see them, or you can have it in both places. There are many more features that make playing Dota much more enjoyable. For example, automatic game acceptance, auto-picking a hero, auto-banning a hero, and automatic creep blocking. You just hold a button, and the hero blocks the creeps by themselves. Then you enable auto last hit, and the hero automatically last hits and denies creeps. There is also a script that automatically brings the courier to the edge of the fountain so it can deliver items faster. Additionally, it will automatically use the speed boost, and if someone tries to take it, the script will activate the shield and move it away from the enemy. To make laning even more comfortable, you can bind keys for aggroing and de-aggroing creeps. Although in my opinion, it's unnecessary. If you need to aggro a wave, it's simpler to right-click on any enemy visible through the top hero panel. However, the auto de-aggro function is very helpful for avoiding unnecessary hits from the tower. There's an indicator that shows where enemy creeps are, which is useful for split pushing and skipping waves when enemies are pushing towards you. If you need to restore HP and mana, to do it more effectively, the script will automatically drop and pick up items in a fraction of a second before using sticks, mangoes, or lotus. If you need to use a bottle, the script will place items into the backpack and back. Of course, there's also a kill stealer. No longer do you need to time the moment to take a kill from your support. By the way, speaking of supports, thanks to Valve's wonderful system that forces players to play support roles to earn tokens, most of the time this role is filled by people who not only fail to contribute positively, but often outright ruin games. A support who doesn't leave kills is only half the trouble, but ever since the ability to switch Rapier to deal magical damage was introduced, every self-respecting ruiner tries to pick up that Rapier dropped from an enemy and then even takes the Aegis from their own team to avoid losing the Rapier. For this, there is an auto pickup feature that applies to Rapier, Aegis, Cheese, Refresher Shard, Aghanemes, and Roshan Banner. You can disable auto pickup if there are no enemies nearby, but I don't recommend it since it's mostly needed against allies. I can't even remember the last time enemies took Aegis from me, but I can easily take it from them. There's even a separate function for this that automatically jumps into the Rosh pit at the right moment with a blink and picks up the Aegis. An equally important feature is the automatic rune pickup. Of course, a lot depends on the ping, but if the ping is okay, the opponent will never be able to click faster than this script. You can test it in a lobby. However, if the opponent does manage to outclick you, which I must say happens quite often, it means the opponent also has this feature, but with slightly better ping. It sometimes happens that you urgently need to step away in the middle of a game. Obviously, no one wants to leave and lose behavior score. In such cases, you can activate the jungle bot. The hero will automatically farm the jungle, not just moving from one spot to another through auto attacks, but by using skills, making stacks, leveling up skills, buying items, activating neutral item tokens, and purchasing healing if needed. In the settings, you can also specify what to do against enemy heroes, either run away or attempt to kill them. Auto Glyph will activate the glyph if enemies are pushing anything. I have set it to automatically activate the glyph only if it will recharge after the tower is destroyed. I remind you that the description contains a referral link to the Umbrella website. By registering through this link, you instantly receive a 10-day trial period, which is more than enough to explore all the features on your own. And if you want to continue playing with cheats, a 33% discount on the first subscription will be a nice bonus.